Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture 1 of chapter 3, elastic plastic fracture mechanics. This is a major jump. The previous chapter was linear elastic fracture mechanics, and as I told you at the end of that chapter, even that was a major new thing for all of you, because you went through the real development of fracture mechanics from English theory and other things and so on for brittle materials. And towards the end of the chapter, we saw that by doing different modifications, slight modifications to the linear elastic theory, we can adapt the same equations to approximately give us some solutions for metals and alloys which have plasticity at the crack tip. So some plasticity corrections were there, but of course that could be done only for metals which are showing only a little bit of plasticity. But for general metals which have a large amount of ductility and so on, we now move into the new area of elastic plastic fracture mechanics. I always try to do this, take some pictures and so on from the real world. If you see, this is a portion of the wing of an American airline plane that crashed. So just imagine that this whole portion of the wing, this is called the vertical stabilizer. It's separated from the American Airlines Flight 587, leading to a fatal crash. Fatal crash means almost everybody died, right? So this is not something elastic. This is a major large plastic deformation, majorly large plastic deformation. So these things happen in real life, and if we could predict that this will happen, then the world will be a much better place, right? Here we are showing you some diagrams. If you see here, I think if you just look at it and see the words enamel and dentine and pulp, you know that this is the model of a tooth, and there are in plane and anti-plane and so on modifications. And here we are showing you the types of cracks, right, and so on. So single edge notched beam specimens cut from coronal dentin of molars, the main teeth. SEM images showing notch dimensions and the tip. Radius of the notch tip was estimated to be approximately 1 micron. So you see, fracture mechanics applied to dentistry, to the surgical part of dentistry, so that if cracks in there and so on in our teeth, can they be modeled? Can we do something about it? Can we find the forces? Can we see how to repair that, right? So I have told you earlier that fracture mechanics is a field where if there is a fracture or a flaw in a material, then we can try to predict the life and we can try to come up with solutions to avoid it and so forth, right? But you see, it goes into biomedical sciences also, the biomechanics here. The previous one was pure aerospace, right? A part of the tail of a ship, of a plane has broken and so on. Now this is the human body. Some more advanced things and so on. If you see, experimental work and finite element modeling simulation of non-linear fracture mechanics, including crack tip plasticity, right? So how do we do experimentally the work of the V notches and so on? And once the cracks develop and so on, then how do we model them in finite elements and so on? And how do we compare the modeling simulation results with the experimental results? If the modeled simulated results are very close to the experimental, then this model is very strong and good, and then we can use this model in the future rather than doing a lot of experimental work, right? So from the theory to the experiment to numerical modeling and analysis and so on. So just some pictures and so on to show you that different people in the world are actually currently doing different types of work developing the theory, doing the experimental work, and doing the numerical work where the exact equations will fail, will not really work. So with that background, right, just to excite you that this is a very ongoing current field, let us do some introduction of this chapter. LEFM, the linear elastic fracture mechanics, is valid only if the non-linear material deformation is confined to a small region surrounding the crack tip, right? The non-linear part, the plastic part, if there is a very small region at the crack tip which is non-linear, then you can still use LEFM. Many materials in the real world, it is virtually impossible to characterize fracture behavior with this LEFM approach. So therefore, elastic plastic fracture mechanics applies to materials that exhibit time-independent non-linear behavior. That is plastic deformation, right? Plastic deformation, serious plastic deformation, not only in a small area. Now, two elastic plastic parameters are introduced in this chapter. One is called the crack tip opening displacement, CTOD, and the other will be J contour integral. I will not talk about this because that is what we will cover very shortly. Both these parameters describe crack tip conditions in elastic plastic materials. Just like we had K1 and we had G, right, in LEFM. So we have CTOD and J integral. Each can be used as a fracture criterion. Critical values of CTOD or J give nearly size independent measures of fracture toughness, even for relatively large amounts of crack tip plasticity, right? So these two, using CTOD or integral, we can define the fracture toughness of an elastic plastic material, not linear elastic material, with very small amount of plasticity, right? So this will be a major jump because this is the behavior that most of the metals and alloys will have. Only a few metals which are more hard and less ductile will be done with LEFM and small corrections of plasticity, okay? So this very small background, and then we directly jump into the first of these, crack tip opening displacement, CTOD. Wells was an engineer scientist. Measurement of K1C values in a number of structural steels. This is huge work. You see, K1C, the plane strain fracture toughness, he tried to measure them for structural steels. You see, there are hundreds and thousands of steels. When we say structural steel, it means the steel that is used in houses and buildings and airport buildings and heavy structures and bridges, structural steels, and of course in structures of other machineries. So when he tried to do this, he tried to experimentally measure K1C for large number of structural steels. He found that the materials were too tough. The toughness was very high to be characterized by LEFM. You see, linear elastic means very close to brittle, but these have high toughness, so therefore they cannot be really classified as LEFM materials. High toughness is obviously very desirable to designers and fabricators, because this means that whatever you make, you can make it easily, it is more ductile, and once it is made, it will deform a large amount before it can fracture. So high toughness is definitely desirable, but existing fracture mechanics, LEFM, was not applicable to an important class of materials, right? Structural steels are pretty ductile steels. They have good value of toughness. This toughness is a highly desired thing, but the LEFM theory at that time available is not good to do these materials. Wells noticed that the crack faces had moved apart prior to fracture. There is a crack and it is opening, right? The crack is opening. So the faces of the crack are moving away from each other before fracture. The plastic deformation had blunted an initially sharp crack. Blunting of, you remember, right? There is a sharp V, but when there is a rounded one, it is called blunting. So we will show you in the figure that the sharp crack is blunted and the faces of the crack move apart from each other before fracture happens. The degree of crack blunting increased in proportion to the toughness of the material. If the material was more tough, then there was more blunting of the crack, more rounding of the V notch. Wells proposed opening at the crack tip as a measure of fracture toughness. This was a brilliant idea. You see, he had done a lot of work before he arrived at this. That you see how there is a sharp crack, now it is blunted, it is becoming round. How round does it become? A little round with a small radius or a big round with a big radius? If it is more tough, there the roundness will be more. So he said, let us measure this opening of the crack tip and use this as a measure of the fracture toughness of these type of materials. So today it is known as crack tip opening displacement, CTOD, or this delta for opening displacement. So here it is, right? The original crack is a sharp crack. But he said that, of course, this is a very enlarged view. These are microns and so on. He said that when they are ductile materials which have more toughness, then this crack opens up like this. This crack opens up like this. And the crack tip which was sharp has blunted. So if you can measure this, that if this is a semicircle, then what is the diameter? This. So this is the opening of the crack tip, CTOD, crack tip opening displacement, called delta or CTOD. So if you measure this, this can be used to define fracture toughness of these type of materials. So if they are elastic plastic materials with higher ductility and higher toughness, then you experimentally measure this value of delta for different materials, and then you can compare that this has more fracture toughness and the other has more fracture toughness, right? Wells used an approximate analysis that related CTOD to stress intensity factor for a small scale yielding. If the yielding is not very large, if the plastic deformation at the crack tip is reasonably small, then he did a mathematical physical analysis to compare or relate CTOD to stress intensity K1, right? We will see that figure, that there is a crack with a small plastic zone. If you remember Irwin, crack tip plasticity makes the crack behave as if it were slightly longer, right? Remember that instead of A, the crack size, you defined A effective as A plus Ry. So crack tip makes the crack behave as if it were slightly longer. CTOD can be estimated by solving for displacement at the actual crack tip, assuming effective crack length of A plus Ry. Okay, and so we will see the figure, and in table displacement, there is table 2.2 in the book, Anderson book. Displacement Ry behind the effective crack tip, is given by this displacement U of Y. Remember, we are calling it R of Y, but displacement general units in mechanics for displacement are U, Ux, Uy, Uz. So in the Y direction, the displacement Uy, again we are not doing the mathematical derivation, we are just telling you that this is kappa plus 1 upon 2 mu K1 is the standard one, Ry upon root 2 pi, and this can be also written as 4 upon E dash K1 Ry upon, so Ry is Ry, this is the radius of the plastic zone, K1 is K1, stress intensity, E dash, if you remember, E dash is equal to E for plane stress, and E dash is equal to E upon 1 minus nu square for plane strain, right? And this kappa is some factor. So where E dash is the effective Young's modulus. The Irwin plastic zone correction for plane stress, remember, was 1 upon 2 pi K1 by sigma y whole square. So this is the new definition, this is the old one, and we will continue because this Ry can now be put inside here, and you will get an equation for this crack tip opening displacement.